Late Night Health continues. I'm Mark Alyn, along with the insane Daryl Wayne. We are celebrating New Year's 2023. I just can't believe it. Wasn't it 1990, just like yesterday? Maybe we'll ask that of our guest. Our guest is Peter Berk. He is the co-author of a new novel. It's called TimeLock. And while this is not exactly health-related, writing can be cathartic, can be painful, and Peter actually worked with his father on this novel and subsequent novels as well. We'll find out about that. We'll find out about working with your dad, how that was. Peter, welcome to Late Night Health.
Thank you both very much. Glad to be here.
Yeah, we're glad to have you. I'm glad you reached out. You said to me when we talked briefly yesterday that writing is really what you want to do. You love to write. I'm a writer. I write, everything like commercial copy, or I wrote a book that was extraordinarily painful. Is writing fun for you?
It is, and you use the perfect word, which is cathartic. I'm somebody who doesn't mind being alone, although this project was side by side with my dad. So writing is sort of a best of all possible worlds. I can escape into whatever, world I want to go into. I've written some nonfiction, and in public relations, I wrote a lot of, nonfiction, although some of it had a little fiction in it, let's face it.
PR people, you have to understand those. Yes.
But I find it extremely liberating and cathartic and a wonderful experience. And yeah, a lot of fun, especially this project, because every word was in honor of my dad, even though he wasn't here to share it with me. In a way, he was.
I'm sure he was right. Yeah, right behind you, sitting on your shoulder, maybe a hand on your shoulder. Your father was a well-known television and screenwriter. It's funny, about 2 weeks ago, I think it was 2 weeks ago, my wife said, let's watch Columbo. And we watched an episode with Patrick McGoogan. What you said. And he was a secret agent man, in the 60s or 70s.
Absolutely.
And he became a producer on Columbo. But I remember seeing the name Howard-Berk in the credits, because as a producer myself, and I always look at credits. And even though this was 30 plus years ago, the story was still relevant. It made sense. It was fun. Your dad was your dad a gregarious guy, or did he like to just sit in his room and work on a typewriter?
Honestly, both. Sort of, I think, like me, I can be the life of the party or just, off on my own happily. And he particularly loved working on that show. And it's a wild coincidence if you happen to have seen that particular episode 2 weeks before you and I connected here. And that was Patrick McGoohan's very first affiliation with Columbo. He went on, as you said, to be a producer and to work closely with the show. But my dad was very thoughtful, intellectual, a lot of fun, great sense of humor. We played tennis all the time, and just a wonderful man and a far better writer than I'll ever be, that's for sure. But he loved the process for all the reasons I think you do and I do. It's just such a wonderful expression of who you are, or what you're feeling, and it's also sort of resistant to age in a way. If you write well, you can be any age. He was working on a novel into his 90s. I mean, and if you read it, you wouldn't know if he was 90 or 30. I mean, and that's one of the beauties of writing, unlike dancing or sports or something, where obviously you have a time limit on how long you can do that. But he really loved the process, and he was an avid reader. and so he had read everything. He was a big Hemingway fan, and even spent a day in Cuba with Hemingway in the 50s. So,
Yeah, he was a reporter in based in Cuba in the 50s, wasn't he?
yes, and then he went into the government, and he was in the record business. I think he narrated a Flintstones record album or some odd fun thing. Uh,
Huh.
and but it was Angela Lansbury's brother Bruce who produced Mission Impossible and other shows for Paramount, who really brought my dad out here and kind of got him started in TV, and he never really looked back.
That is terrific. What was it like working with your dad? You made a statement that your dad was a better writer than you will ever be. I think your dad would like you to exceed what he did.
That won't happen. I'm already a senior citizen, and it's just there isn't time and there isn't talent. I'm not being falsely modest. He was a great writer, and I think if I'm a good writer, I that's okay. That's enough for me. And but I certainly learned a lot working with him and watching him, and we had a terrific relationship. I mean, obviously it would make for a better story if there was drama and tension and infighting and competition. But there really wasn't. There was, I think it was just kind of me sitting there and contributing what I could and learning everything I could and having a good time. And and most of it was physically side by side, but there were times he was back east and we just talked on the phone or whatever. It was great. I was working with him right up until the last couple of weeks of his life when he was working.
Wow.
Yeah,
Would Was your dad a good dad?
the best. I mean, we wrote songs together. We were very close with my mom too, and I was an only child. So, and we lived in Europe for 5 years. They took me with them whenever they traveled. It was, it was a friendship. I know it sounds like I'm doing PR on my own life, and you can't believe a word I'm saying, but it's true. It was a very very close relationship, and I miss him terribly, and my
And
mom.
it's been over 6 years.
About 6 years, but that's why this whole process with TimeLock has been I think, so healthy for me to help feel as if that connection. We're still collaborating in our own way, and
And we learn from our parents so that if a parent might be abusive, there's a good chance that the child, their kid, will be abusive to their kids. So, are
absolutely.
you a good dad? You have a couple of kids, at least two sons that I'm aware of.
Yeah, two married sons, one grandson, and two other grandkids on the way. Uh, I don't. It would be up to them to evaluate me as a father. I know one thing, and I got this from my dad. Uh, I'm very demonstrative. I'm not one of these, holding back affection. I'll hug and kiss them in public till they're red in the face, embarrassed. My dad was that way, and it was harder for him because his generation, I don't think men, I'm talking about even when we were both, adults. He had no
Sure.
hesitation to be expressive and to say I love you or anything like that. And I feel so sad I know so many people who never got that from their parents, even their mom, and in turn, as you
Yeah.
just said, have trouble with their kids. So I know I'm an extremely loving dad, um, and I know,
That's good.
but
And I
I
would
still,
kill for I would personally kill for, well, I don't know about kill, but I would love 1 minute with my dad just to give him a big hug and say I love you. Um, our guest is Peter Berk. He is the co-author of Time Lock. It's a novel, science fiction, and it's just I can't wait to read the book. Has it come out yet, Peter? Is it
yeah, it just
available?
came out at the end of last year. Uh,
Okay.
Ingram Elliott is the publisher, and they did a great job. They kept it, short and easy to read. It's part of their Snaps division, just short books that you can read on one long flight and are meant for TV or film adaptation, we hope. So we'll see. Because
Got it. Peter, I'm going to ask you to hold on. We're going to take time out. We're going to come back and continue our conversation with Peter Berk, co-author of TimeLock. I'm Mark Alyn. Join us at latenighthealth.com. That's latenighthealth.com. You can see a pretty picture of Daryl Wayne, the insane Daryl Wayne, right there on our homepage. I'll be back with Peter and Daryl in just a couple of moments as Late Night Health continues. Recently, I met Jacqueline from Bright here in Los Angeles. She gave me a hearing exam and then showed me how to hear again with the new Signia Pure Series hearing aids, and she can give you your life back too. I hear birds chirping, birds cooing, and even my wife. They easily connect to my smartphone. The Signia hearing aids are amazing, and with the charge and go, I don't have to fiddle with batteries and hear all day long. Not hearing is frustrating for you and your family. I know you don't have a problem, but trust me, call Bright Here now for a free hearing exam, a $125 value, yours free, just for making an appointment now. There are offices throughout the Los Angeles area. Call Bright Here now at 323-424-7100. That's 323-424-7100 for a free hearing exam. There's no obligation. Call now, 323-424-7100, or visit them on the web at brighthere.com. Late Night Health is proud of our partnership with the EBC, the Evolutionary Business Council. Check them out at ebcouncil.com.
You're listening to Late Night Health with Mark Alyn. The show continues in a moment. If you're listening to Late Night Health right now, you're part of the growing target of baby boomers we're serving. Hi, I'm Daryl Wayne, producer of Late Night Health, inviting you to join the Late Night Health family. If you have any business targeting the growing boomer market, Late Night Health is the ideal advertising vehicle for you. From vitamins to insurance, alternative health to Western-style medicine, Late Night Health caters to the growing population of those over 40 years old. This vibrant demographic has expendable income to fight aging, purchase travel, take care of aging parents, or just have fun. Find out about the advertising opportunities with Late Night Health. Call us at 805-391-0308. That's 805-391-0308, or email us at info@latenighthealth.com. That's info@latenighthealth.com. Join Late Night Health as we empower people to take charge of their own health care. Call now at 805-391-0308. That's 805-391-0308.
Sometimes it's not what you say, it's how you say it. Words are a critical aspect of success. How you get your point across is a crucial part of what makes anything sell. So do it right and hire a writer. Whether it's articles, blog posts, technical writings, website content, product descriptions, or ghostwriting anything from a novel to a nonfiction book about your navel, contact Servet Hassan. If you want it to sell, write it right. Email Servet at servet@servethassan.com.
Late Night Health continues. I'm Mark Alyn, along with the insane Daryl Wayne. Be sure to stop by and visit us at latenighthealth.com. That's latenighthealth.com. Our guest is the co-author of TimeLock. It's a novel, and his name is Peter Berk. And I'm really intrigued by this because there's a young and aging component. I'm not going to give away the storyline.
Oh, it's okay.
But
you can.
Is it? Well, why don't you explain it? Because what a wonderful premise.
Yeah, thanks. I mean, it was my dad's idea about 15, 18, 17 years ago, something like that. He had the idea that what if sometime in the future, not the distant future, maybe 10 years down the line, crime and prison overcrowding are such a problem that the only deterrent they can come up with is a genetic acceleration technology which instantly ages prisoners the number of years of their sentence. So, you go in, you're 25 in the morning and you're 45, or if you get a 20-year sentence, minutes later. The idea is to basically scare potential criminals straight, or ex-prisoners, keep them from going back to crime. So that we thought that was a great idea. We wrote a screenplay. We were happy with it, but it was a big budget script, and people were just making sequels and comic books and all that. And so it was tough to get off the ground. And when COVID hit, and this is years after I lost my dad, I thought the best way to honor him and to, really have a cathartic experience for myself would be to novelize the screenplay. So that's what I did. And it's really a story of a young, innocent man. He's 23 when we meet him, and he is very smart, but kind of drifting in his life. He doesn't know what to do with himself. He's wrongly arrested for murder. He's given a 40-year sentence. He's one of the first to go through the TimeLock process, but he's lucky in a way. There's a prison riot. He escapes halfway through. So it's really, the technology and the sci-fi is secondary. It's really about what would it be like to, go from 23 to 43 in an instant, and you're on the run from the police. And he hooks up, wow. He meets the woman who arrested him, an FBI agent, and they're on the run, and she wants nothing to do with him, but finally they realize there's something terribly wrong with the program, and that's what happens. And the irony,
when he wakes up, Peter, at 43, does he have the aches and pains of a 43-year-old versus a 23-year-old?
Absolutely. The whole book is written in first person because I wanted to readers to experience what he's experiencing. And so there's a lot, and it sounds depressing, and it's actually, I tried to put a lot of humor in it. He's very self-deprecating, and he'll say, he's even gained weight. He's got a second chin coming down. He's hobbling a bit, his hearing, but it's not, he's only 43. And that was the funny part for me. I'm writing this character, bemoaning the fact that he's suddenly 43. And I'm thinking, I would pay millions of dollars to be 43. What do you?
I was going to say that, yeah.
About, so, because I'm actually, the age he would have been if he had gotten the whole, 40 years plus a couple more years. So, but it's really a personal story, but he actually grows from the experience. It matures him. It makes him ready.
Did your father help outline I know that there's 5 books in the upcoming series, or is this all based on the film, on your script?
I wrote a sequel that we didn't work on together because I wanted to bring this particular story full, to all the way to around. And then I adopted 2 other screenplays he and I had written together that weren't meant as sequels, but they were similar enough that I could weave them into this universe. and then I've written a fifth one that my dad wasn't involved with. But they're all going to be by Howard-Berk and Peter Berk. Whether, of course, I'm not going to.
Of course, and the characters were developed together, so that makes
absolutely
sense, right?
Absolutely.
You mentioned that several times, the cathartic, that this was self-healing in writing, and you liked to be alone. Would you describe yourself as a people person, or would you rather leave people outside in the cold?
No, I'm a people person, but it's selective. I mean, I think, as I said before, I try to be funny. I try to be the life of the party. I play the piano. I love when people gather around. I've written a lot of music, you too.
Mm-hmm.
And, I love performing. I can be a total ham, but I'm also moody. I think it kind of goes with the wiring of a lot of people in the industry, and there are times I just would rather not be socializing, and I'm fine just to be on my own. But generally, I do like to, surround myself with people, but not small talk. I don't take for standing at a crowded room with a bunch of strangers. I'd much rather be with a small group where you really get to know the people, even if you're never going to see them again. It's still, a closer connection.
Going to, I mean, as a PR professional like you've probably done a number of press parties, and where you stand around and people are standing around, they've got a cocktail or a glass of wine or something, and it's always hard for me to be at those kinds of parties. I was at one in Las Vegas at a convention recently. I walked out. It was just too much.
Yeah, I'm the same way. And I frankly hated doing that kind of thing for a couple of reasons. One, for the reason we're talking about, it's just too crowded and too many people, too much small talk. But also, I was always, sort of in the corner, or I wasn't a guest. I was just working the party. And I always, and I wanted to be, I always felt on the wrong side of the screen. Or whatever was going on, I was off in the shadows, or, because I was a tortured, frustrated, writer most of my life. And here I am, doing public relations for successful writers or people in other businesses. It was tough. And there are many, I remember being at a book signing for what I thought was a terrible book that one of my clients had written, and I'm sitting there, isn't this wonderful? And it's hard. It's not, I'm not equating it to serious hardship in life, but it was hard for me.
Well, we're going to have Peter back. We'll talk as the second book is released. The book is called TimeLock. It's a novel. It's published by Ingram Elliott Publishing. And they're out of North Carolina, by the way. And I'm looking forward to reading it. Peter and I hooked up about this just a couple of days ago, really, before we were recording. A Happy New Year to Daryl and his family. Happy New Year to you listening. Happy New Year to Peter. And as I always say, have a great week, everybody. Have a good week. Most importantly, have a healthy week. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye for now.